Please stand for the invocation. All right, we have a quorum, 4 members present.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that we have had. Thank you for the little rain that we are getting. Big thank you for allowing everyone to arrive here safely. Be with us as we go through this meeting. I hope it goes smoothly and everything. And be with everybody as they return home safely. In Jesus Christ's name I pray, amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
No problem.
All right. Do we have any citizens' comments? Anybody want to say anything? All right, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Review and approval of the meeting minutes from August the 20th of 2020. They're passed out in our packet. Anybody have any changes or amendments need to be made?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
All right, we have a motion on the floor made by Ryan Bippert to accept the minutes as presented. Do I have a second?
Yes, I second.
I have a second by Mike Jackson. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed 4-0. Also attached with our packet, we have in there the invoice. I'm assuming not much change since the 20th of August from the attorney. And I'd asked him to give us also what was I believe the mailbox, the fees you'd incurred, what the mailbox and a couple other things you had included in there.
Yeah, it's collects legal fees and expenses to date. There are more expenses out there. Pretty quick. For surveying and filing fees and stuff like that, to transfer overs and titles, but that's the date.
Right. All right, so there's no action to be taken on this. If we can move on to new business.
Did you want to try to ring in Mr. Yates? Mr. Yates?
Y'all want to do that? I don't know.
I believe he asked him to call him.
Okay, how are you gonna do that?
Someone called him on the phone, told him to.
I got it.
You got it?
He may or may not answer, he's at work, but the rumor he asked him, that would be okay.
Not a problem.
And right now, because of the Open Meetings Act has been kind of relaxed by the governor, members can attend by phone.
Hey, Barry.
Wally,
What's up, sir?
hey, we're in this meeting, we're fixing to start new business. I didn't know if you wanted to listen in or if you're busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get his office here. I do want to listen. I thought they were gonna call me. I didn't know y'all started already.
Well, we just started.
Okay.
We got
Well,
through,
put
we
me
got
on speaker.
your own speaker.
All right, appreciate it.
All right.
All right, we'll start with item A in new business. Discussion and possible action to adopt the district's fiscal year 2021 proposed budget. We've had our hearings. So our next step would be to approve it, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay, can I get that number? What the number is on that? Again, I don't have it in front of me.
989,
Yes,
43, 00.
989, what?
43,
043.
yeah, 043, 00.
Jackson, was that 989,483?
No.
No, definitely you got
I got
343.
989.
Well, just a minute, I've been.
343?
Okay,
343.
Yes.
gotcha.
What I had in my notes from last week.
Yeah, 989, 343.
Okay.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt a district fiscal year 2021 budget as proposed for the amount of 989, 343.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to adopt our proposed budget. That comes to a total of 989, 343. That's for fiscal year 2021. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
All right, we have a second from Mr. Yates.
Yes.
We'll take that to vote. All those in favor of approving this budget, raise your right hand. All those opposed, raise your right hand. Yeah, Mr. Yates, are you a for or against?
Oh, I'm for.
You're for, okay. The motion passed. So we'll accept that budget. Moving on to the next item. Item B, discussion and possible action to adopt the district's fiscal 2020 proposed tax rate. Is that a mistake?
Nope,
It is a 2020, okay.
that's not a mistake. Tax rate's the year before, and
Yeah.
budget's the year moving forward.
Yeah.
Our proposed tax rate, which was at the 10 cents per $100 value, which is what was voted upon by the citizens of the county. Any discussion on that?
Mr. President, I move that we accept a .10 per 100,000.
No.
.01. Yeah, .10 per 100,000, 10 cents
10 cents per 100.
100,
per 100,000.
no.
No, it's per $100.
$100.
$100, excuse me.
So we have a motion on the floor to accept our proposed tax rate of 10 cents per $100 value. Do we have a second on that motion?
I second it.
We have a second, Mike Jackson, on the motion for 10 cents, proposed tax rate of 10 cents per $100 value. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
I vote
Mis-
for.
All right. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Accepted the tax rate at 10 cents per $100 value. All right, we'll move on to item number C, or letter C. Report from the interim fire chief about current status of the department personnel, any action or assistance that may be required during transition. Presentation of the HGAC contract to the board of review, possible action to follow if applicable.
Mr. President, may I interrupt real quick?
Yes, sir.
I prepared resolutions for both of those actions you just took. Resolution 2020-004 would be the board attaching, would be attached exhibit, which is the budget approved.
Okay.
You and the secretary need to sign that, and budget, resolution 2020-005 will be the tax rate. There's also a form attached to that y'all don't need, but the tax office does, that you have to sign, sir. Here are the meeting minutes that I need you and the secretary to approve that has the attachment from the chief's brief as well.
The chief's. We just signed it. It went with the minutes, that's what he had given us. for the.
Budget.
The budget, annual budget. Yes, yeah, you have the,
I will attach the budget to it whenever it's posted and filed with Commissioner's Court.
yes, what's the tax rate?
Sir?
Adam?
Here's the HGAC contract. Everything is done. All it needs is a signature to be finalized. And once it's signed and I return it back, it will be effective at that point, and then we can move forward with purchasing equipment, apparatus, whatever we need through HGAC.
And just because, I mean, sign that doesn't mean you have to use those guys, right?
You don't have to, but
And there was
it
no-
works out better because you get better prices through HGAC. Because they're actually, from all the research that I've done, is the way that HGAC works is once you're a member of that and you use their services, then there's set prices that, the only way the prices adjust from that point, say for example, when you're building a fire truck, you have a base price that they give you on the fire truck, and then when you start changing options or adding things that are not on that base truck, that's how the price changes. So like say the base truck doesn't have a front bumper discharge, but you want that because you want to have that short little section of hose that you can pull off the front bumper instead of unracking 200 plus feet of hose. You add that on as an option, and that increases your price. Other than a lot of the quotes that I've given y'all when y'all were working on the budget, those were all HGAC prices. Those quotes were given to me as under the stipulation that I explained to them, like, hey, we have at this point we were planning to join HGAC. So without a lot of those prices that are on those quotes were the prices you get as being a member of HGAC. And I've been told like say for instance the radios. I think for the two quotes it comes out to a little over $50,000 for the 4 radios for the trucks and then the 4 handhelds. The guy was here last week looking at the radios that are in the trucks now because we're having issues with being able to hear the radio traffic because the speakers are so small. He was actually explaining to me that those same radios, if we buy them without HGAC, are probably about $15,000 to $20,000 higher, is what that quote would be. So we're actually saving a pretty good amount of money by using HGAC services.
And there's no charge for us as ESD, it's just a
Nope.
member.
You're just a member of it. And then as far as, right now it's listed as me for the contact and the end user, because as the chief, I would be the one doing the purchasing for the department. And if for some reason somebody else is put into that position, it's as simple as sending an email and they would take me off and add the person on.
Yeah, Adam, could you put yourself on there as a contact or designee?
Right now,
Would that
that's
be written on there?
That's the way the contract is drawn up, as me as official contact and designee for the department, being that I'm the chief currently. And as I said, if something changes down the road that somebody else is put into this position, all we would have to do is I would contact HGAC. They would remove me and put whoever the new person is that takes my place in as the official contact.
Okay.
So we've already voted to move forward with this. What other action do we have to take other than signing this?
We voted to allow him to go discuss it with them and find out exactly what it is.
Okay.
So at this point, it's just The way I understood it was after signing up for it, y'all wanted to see the contract before it was signed.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
at this point,
I have not seen the contract at all. So, I mean, I would advise y'all not to sign a contract if your attorney hasn't reviewed, but
Right.
go right ahead.
well, right now, the only person that, the way that it's set up is I have to sign it and send it back, being the end user, being the department designee as the person that does the purchasing. As I said, if that changes, it's as simple as sending an email to them saying, I'm no longer in that position, this is the person that will be in that position now, and they will take me off and add that person on.
And really, we can't, there's no action on it, so he looks at it.
Or you can make it to where, once he reads it and if he approves it,
The question I have on this, and it's really not about this contract, who has the authority to buy stuff?
Board.
The board.
the
Okay.
board approves everything, and then I would be the designee by the board to
Right.
execute those purchases.
Right. So, takes for instance, other boards, there was a $50,000 limit that you as a designee could spend without board approval. And then that 50,000 went to $1 million, the last legislative session. So,
We need to keep it where there's
Well,
anything that's
that's-
purchased is gonna need board approval.
that, well, not anything, because then he can't do his day-to-day stuff.
I can tell you from the way that, my experience with other departments, the way that it was gonna work is when we need something to purchase something, we were gonna come to the meeting and bring it
Sure.
to y'all, say, hey, this is what we need, this is what it's gonna cost.
Right.
Y'all vote on it, and then at that point, once y'all tell me, yes, go move forward with it, or no, we don't need to do that right now. I'm not just gonna, I wouldn't just go out and buy something.
No, I understand
without
that.
board approval.
I understand that, but
Yeah,
But again, that's a different subject than what we're talking about here.
okay.
So that's supposed to be something in our,
Yes.
how we're gonna set up and operate.
Yes.
It's gonna have to be discussed.
Right. All right, so we got no action on that right now?
Well, this is not gonna take that.
Huh?
I can review this right now, just give me a few minutes. Y'all carry on,
Okay.
come back.
Can we go back to that one
Sure.
if we get to it?
All right. Do you have anything else in your report that you need
I
to
have my actual chief's report, if y'all could turn y'all's attention to the TV behind y'all. So, I made a PowerPoint for the report this time. So far for this month, for the month of August, this is our totals on calls that we've had. We ran 7 grass fires, 1 brush fire, 2 vehicle fires, 5 motor vehicle accidents, crashes, 1 structure fire, and then 7 other calls, which is, as I explained last time, was like your alarm or activated fire alarms, smoke alarms, smell of gas, if I tried to put every single call we could possibly run, this would probably be 4 or 5 slides. So a lot of your calls, like I said, the activated fire alarms or what have you, I put those into the other category because, and a couple of those, yeah. There's also there was 1 EMS call which I forgot to put over on the side of the text. And then on training, on Tuesday, August 25th at 7 p.m., we had 13 people in attendance. We went over radio usage and scene size ups. The next training is going to be this week, September 10th at 7 p.m. We're going over call responses, and we're going to do an intro into wildland as far as giving everybody a kind of a refresher on fighting grass fires and brush fires. And then there's just some pictures of everybody that was in attendance that night. And this one, we were adding a small whip line to the engine to where whenever we deploy the hoses, instead of having to climb all the way up on top of the truck and disconnect the hose when we're done, you just break it loose at the short section that stays attached to the truck. As far as personnel goes, right now we have 3 people from the department that are currently attending District 1's Fire Academy. They have 1 module left as far when they're with their bookwork part of it, and then they will be doing all of their live burns in mid-October. We also have 4 volunteers that are attending EMT basic class at District 2 Fire and EMS. They will be taking their midterm this Friday, I believe, is what they told me. And then I forgot to correct it, but the department has had 5 people express interest in becoming volunteers. 4 of those 5 people have already turned in applications and are going through the background check process. And then equipment and repairs, the 1532, which is the 5-ton I talked about last meeting, it is still at the shop getting repaired. Ended up having to get the injector pump rebuilt, and the mechanic is waiting for the injector pump to come back from the shop. And as far as Brush 3, the old Chevy back there in the corner, Maggie had taken that truck a while back to get it checked out. It is currently out of service, and when she took it to the mechanic to get a bid for the repairs, the mechanic pretty much advised her that due to the age of the truck and what it's going to cost to fix it, that it's not worth repairing because the transmission is shot and going to need to be completely rebuilt. And there's a good chance once the transmission's rebuilt that the engine's probably going to have to get rebuilt as well. And that truck is a 35-year-old truck. And the community, so far, or for the month of August, we did 6 birthday parades since the last meeting. We were in attendance we showed our respects for the Three Oaks firefighter that passed away. And then they will be assisting with the food bank event at the Expo Center tomorrow. And that's everything I got for the report.
I have a few questions about the contract for the interim fire chief, but other than that, I don't have an issue with it. This agreement, it says here that there are a true and lawful purchasing agent. That's not exclusively though, right? Are we bound to only negotiate with HGAC?
No, we are not.
Okay, well, it doesn't
I think
say
the
we
only-
are, so.
I think the only thing that there was a spot where I saw it, and I think it read that you have to make so many purchases, but a lot of everybody I've talked to as far as with the research on HGAC, they said HGAC is the best way to go when it comes to buying apparatus.
Okay, and when it comes to speccing it out, I mean, how much say does the district have on that? Because it says here, all purchases hereunder shall be in accordance with specifications and contract terms and pricing established by the HGAC. How much latitude do we have on the needs that we have?
We have as much latitude as we want on those trucks, because as I said, like for instance on Pierce, when you go spec a fire truck through Pierce as a member of HGAC, the price that they give HGAC at the beginning of every year is for a base model truck. And then basically at that point, you can upgrade to a different chassis or a different body style. So you still have the ability to build the truck however you want. You're just using HGAC as they're basically assisting you with the bid process.
I didn't see in here somewhere where they're required to purchase something annually. So I don't know, but to the board, I don't. This is the second time I've reviewed an HGAC contract. This one's almost identical to the other one. It's just kind of a partnership agreement. It's an interlocal agreement is what it is. I don't see anything that's binding here. If you get dissatisfied with HJAC, 30 days written notice can terminate the agreement. proceed on that, I don't see any issues with it. Alright, so,
So you have, you're saying it's all good if we wanna proceed then?
yes, sir.
Any other discussion on that item from board members or? Wanna
Hey,
move
Tom,
forward?
there's not an exclusionary deal in there that says, excuse me, that you can't buy from somebody else in the event, just because you signed that contract. If, I don't know, Pierce or Ferrara or one of them offered us a good deal, is there some kind of penalty that could be levied toward us for buying direct through them instead of going through HGAC?
No, Wally, that was one of my questions that I had for Adam right off the bat. It doesn't have any exclusivity language in it.
Okay.
So to me, I'm like, I don't see any reason why y'all can't become a member of this if you can
Yeah.
also look out other places.
Any other comments or questions? You wanna proceed with this, or?
I do.
You guys already voted and authorized the application for membership, so I don't even know if you need to. You just wanted to review the contract first.
Now, it's a matter of signing it and we're done with it, not to vote it in.
No,
Any further?
you already voted that y'all would approve it, that he could apply for membership, but you did say you wanted to see the agreement. You've taken action last meeting, if you just, unless you have, I'd say right now, the only thing you need to take action on would be pump the brakes to not do it. But in the future, if you get a contract, send it to me first, so I can review it.
So we don't need anything, just keep proceeding? That's,
Well, is it all right if we did make a motion? That way we
Sure,
all
of
agree with
course,
it.
of course you can.
That we all were in agreement to proceed with that?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we finalize the contract with HVAC.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to finalize and execute the contract with the HGAC buy program. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second it.
Do I have a second by Walter Yates? And what's the motion on the floor is to execute the HGAC buy contract. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Mr. Yates voted for that. It was unanimous, 5-0 vote.
They have a certification on there for nonprofit status. Don't fill that out. We're not a nonprofit. We're a governmental entity. One of the forms that they have at the end.
I think it's worded both ways, because when I filled it all out, they asked for the EIN number. I entered in the agency's EIN number, and I think it's just kind of all lumped together on the website to where, as a nonprofit or governmental entity.
Okay, so you're saying that form, they're not expecting the board to execute that form? Because it says nonprofit
Stated
certification
on there.
and we're not gonna certify that we're a nonprofit, so they inform the IRS that we're a nonprofit, and the IRS wants to know what our Form 990 is next
Right.
year. That's why we don't fill that out, because that's not applicable to us. And I didn't see anything in here that says anything about political subdivisions. If they have any issues with it, you can work on it with me, we can discuss it, but they know what an ESD is.
Well, that, and I was gonna say, I know pretty much every ESD in the county is part of HTAC, as well as a lot of the ESDs in Gregory County as well.
Like in the county, ESD two also is a nonprofit. We're not. So I was just gonna say, Adam, you're doing a great job, just, I don't think you need to fill out that form, that certification.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't apply to us.
And you used the ESD's EIN, not the fire department's, correct?
Correct.
I
I
know that
used
was-
the EIN number that Tom gave me.
And that's not an issue with the way you guys did Most County ESD 5, or the fire department?
No. Everybody I've talked to said that's not a problem. As long as Wilson County ESD 5 is first, a little slash, because at this point, the department was still keeping the name.
That's not a problem, so. As long as that ESD, EIN is tied to it, that EIN is very specific. It is on the emergency service district.
Yeah, I thought I'd take care of it, should I do that? That concludes everything with letter C. We'll go ahead and move on to, item D. Discussion and possible action related to establishing a line of credit or borrowing funds to fund the district activities temporarily. The bank is ready with the account set up. Just to finish it off, they have to have money to deposit, which, as we all know, we have no money right now. So we need to kind of discuss if we want a line of credit, an X number of dollars to be deposited, what that number may be. We're going to have, like Tom said, the survey and the title work for the property, the transfer. Obviously, we already have our attorney fees that we've incurred this year so far.
We got payment on VAs or the air deal coming due first of
The compressor.
October.
That was what, like 5,000, right? 4,500.
So I thought during our budget process, we had talked around a $25,000 to $30,000 number that we're gonna have as far as expenses to go for up until October 1 per se. Or I guess the better way to say that, until we actually get any funding from the
Tax mills?
any funding from the tax office.
Because they're saying we may receive a payment already as early as November,
Yeah.
some kind of funds by then. So we're
So
September.
Jeff, when I talked to him the other day,
Uh-huh.
she called me after you took the license deals down there.
Uh-huh.
I asked about rates and all of that, and I think it'd be better for me and you, both to go down there, or Mike, and just sit down with them and find out what those rates are.
Okay.
It's gotta be pretty cheap right now, obviously.
Hopefully. And hopefully we're only talking for 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
Hopefully in 3 months I can go away.
Yeah, sure.
Are they familiar with the ESD loans?
Says it's no different than any other ones.
No, just using
Just a month.
our income as
Right.
collateral.
Right. Yep. Just being a government entity, tax code, something like that. Do we want to put, an amount up to?
I would, why don't we say an amount up to 40,000? I think that covers us, right?
It should cover it.
Yeah, and
And
then
some.
that way, if we need it, it's there. If we don't, no harm, no foul. We just pay that off as soon as we get that other money in, right?
Correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's just gonna cost us interest.
And I know Jeff's already done his deal and Mike's done his, with the bank, so it's just a matter of going in there and it's gonna take, she asked me the other day, I said, no, it takes 2 signatures. There's no one signature bank on this deal. So,
So are we gonna do a line of credit, or we're gonna borrow X amount?
so that's a good question. I don't know what the cheaper rate is.
Well, I don't, I think we're splitting hairs on rate. I mean,
Yeah, the rates are nothing, but a line of credit would be better, because you don't know what we're gonna
well, the
do.
thing about it too is the interest doesn't start on that till you actually use it
Right.
on the line of credit.
I think we need to do line of credit, because we don't know what expenses,
Yep.
Right.
boom,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, now we're doing, then the next
But-
one, and the next one. I think just
If we
borrowing
can,
funds.
if we can establish a line of credit without putting a top value on it, that's fine.
If we do a line of credit though without establishing from the bank as having the account and everything versus having money in an actual account,
It should, because it'll put money in that account.
it'll actually show up to the account.
They're probably gonna make
No,
us
not a
do
line of
something up
credit.
front,
Line
right?
of
Well,
credit.
just, you can put $100 in an account that's there.
Right, crazy.
So, but then you have a line of credit, okay, what are you guys worth? You know, 40,000.
That's what I'm asking them
And
to
then
show us
leave
All
it.
right, so
as
just,
being established.
just forward thinking, that deal's coming up in 20 days, 22 days, 23 days. So if you do establish a line of credit, and that payment's gonna be 5,000 plus, pull out $6,000, put it in the account, that way when that comes due,
It's their
it puts
pay.
money in our account, and we're able to pay that deal without y'all having to go back down there,
Yes, you're right about that.
redo all of that,
Get it done in one shot.
get it done, it satisfies money in the account, plus it gives us enough to cover that air compressor deal, without having to go through the steps again.
Yeah,
What-
you're right, I agree.
Tom, when
I'll
was,
call you back, Brian, I got something I gotta take care of, I'll be right back.
All right, Mike.
when was all the city stuff supposed to be? October 1, right?
Yeah. I'm just waiting on getting meets and bounds descriptions. The lines are set. I looked at them this morning. They're good enough. The city's happy with them too. They're coming out to do the surveys. And I've already got the deeds ready to go. I just gotta add the meets and bounds and filing.
Okay.
The vehicle stuff I need to get with Maggie, because I think y'all have the titles. Some of this stuff, you showed me titles, but the city's gotta sign. I'll get to you with you. And then filing everything,
Okay.
filing the titles and all that stuff.
So
Pretty quick.
can we just get approval to establish a line of credit up to a certain dollar amount? Is that how y'all wanna do it, or just establish a line of credit?
I
whatever-
would establish a line of credit, but
Whatever they tell us we could do.
I would pull out X amount of dollars.
Right, when it's time,
To put that in the account, so when it comes time to,
we can have that set to do right before we need to do it, that way that's when it starts. I mean,
When are you going to start paying your fires? I'm just curious.
when we hire one.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right. So this October 1st, that wasn't supposed to have happened on October 1?
That was gonna be not till January. That was last, the time we spoke of, it was gonna be till we had money.
So nothing's changing October 1. Mr. Chief Strezak is going to continue in that role the way he is as volunteer.
My understanding,
The
yes.
two budgeted positions will not be filled on October 1 either?
No,
It was all starting in January
Yeah.
timeframe.
Okay.
First of
I wasn't quite sure about that, and I was kind of thinking.
and that was, one of the other items coming up here about,
All right, you're on.
Vision and goal stuff?
right, what our plans, where we're striving for to get to,
Okay.
how we're gonna handle that.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, I was just interjecting because I was
Yep.
wondering how much that was going to cost y'all.
Right.
We were
Yeah.
looking at.
All right,
So we have a
Good.
motion to,
yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to word the motion.
To establish a line of credit up to $40,000.
well, I didn't have a limit, I guess it would just be
Well, we should put
what the
some
bank
out
would
on
do.
it. Oh, yeah. They'll let us go to 40, I would kind of make those our top out.
This is instructive to y'all, but ESD 4 has applied for and received a line of credit up to $200,000. They have no intentions of using that, but
Right.
they figured that covers all sorts of rainy day situations, up to and including having to replace apparatus.
Yes.
We can always change it.
Well, I mean, hopefully by November, we're gonna be getting something coming in there.
Hopefully, no.
So is there a motion?
Mr. President, I make a motion we establish a line of credit. If we need a top value, I mean, if we don't, if we just establish the line of credit and they say, okay,
What's it
They're
gonna
gonna
be?
tell you what your amount is. But you can do a not to exceed amount here.
Yeah.
The district action if you like.
I think we don't need to exceed 40,000. We need to change it,
well,
let's change it.
let's start at that.
Okay.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we establish a line of credit up to the amount of 40,000.
Alright, so the motion is on the floor to get our account established and establish a line of credit not to exceed 40,000. And this is with South Trust Bank. Do I have a second on that motion?
Yeah, second.
Seconded by Mike Jackson. The motion on the floor is to establish a line of credit not to exceed $40,000. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
I vote for.
Wally votes for that. All those opposed is unanimous 5-0 vote. So we will be, I'll get with you, Wally and Mike, will get that taken care of.
Okay.
All right. New business, letter E, discussion and possible action related to district's vision and goals for the first year. This might be something we need to make one special meeting for, where we just discuss this. Obviously with the fire department.
Yeah, we started out as volunteer, then we went to paid, now we're back to volunteer, so where are we going?
That's what we gotta figure out.
That's what we need to talk about.
Yeah, I would like to see us come together and come up with our plan, how we wanna go. So we as a board are all together on this. And we're all moving the same direction, wanting to do the same thing.
And I agree with making that a special meeting to do that, with very limited or no budget items. I mean, agenda items.
Who wasn't it?
Keeping our shifts. Instead of hiring them.
Oh, well, we got-
And she made that up, asked her to go back to
Mhm.
and her raise will make it up to, this is what it would take to run this thing as a volunteer. There's 2 pages to it, and it's very good.
But I think-
This, too. I need one. Maggie. Could you do 2 copies, please, out of this? I can make it. I just. You can see this?
Okay.
I'm gonna make her a copy.
But,
Thank you.
but I think what you're giving us is something that we need to have this, we need to figure out, we need to set those short-term, middle-term,
Goals.
long-term goals.
Right.
And then we move, then that's all a piece of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we need to set a special meeting just to discuss, as a board, what our district visions are and goals.
Right, and I don't want any other agenda items on or nothing, just
Well,
this.
it'd be very quick, yeah. If something comes up we gotta deal with, like,
Sure, yeah.
we
if
gotta
there's
sign
something
some
major.
paperwork with the
Yeah,
city or
okay.
something coming up, or whatever, final approval on that, then, okay. But
We wanna set a date?
Wally, did you hear what we're trying to do?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, just tell me what date.
I would say if we could have this as quick as we could, really. Would be next week be too early?
You want to do 15?
Any day's good with me.
I would say either the 16th or the 22nd.
I think we can hit the 16th. Mr. Jacobs, you good?
That's fine, that's fine.
I'm on shift those days.
So you're not available? What was the next one, Ryan?
22nd.
On the 22 weeks from today?
Yeah, I'm on shift both those days.
Alright.
When you on shift, Bip?
15th to 21st. I'm just trying to stop, factor in Wally too on it.
Yeah, when's he
What, let me get the calendar. Okay. What are you talking about, October, or September?
September.
We were talking about but Mike's on working the 16th and 22nd.
16th 16th and the 22nd.
Yeah. I tell you what, what about the 15th? I could, if nothing else, conference call in.
Yeah, I'm good for the 15th. I'm fine
What does
with that.
15 look like for y'all? That's next Tuesday.
Good for me.
6 a.m., 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 15th. All right, so set that for September the 15th, 6 p.m. here at the fire station. At this point in time,
Tom
the
does
agenda.
not need to be here for that. I mean,
Okay. All right, so we're set for September the 15th at 6 p.m. here at the station, which is next Tuesday. All right. Moving on to item F, report by the committee on executive officer qualification, possible action to follow. I know, Ryan, you and Walter
we're
set up to
still
do that.
compiling stuff from other ESD districts on what their actual job descriptions and KSAs look like, roles and responsibilities of that stuff. So we've yet to narrow that down
You
to the
think
final
you can-
document.
Do you think you can have it done by that next meeting?
We can damn sure try.
Because that would be real important, you know, when we
Yeah.
set our goals.
Yeah. Okay. Do you hear that, Wally?
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
So I'll try to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, I can have an outline of it.
Right. Right.
This makes it for volunteer fire departments, what it would take to run it.
All right. So I'm still gathering info, and y'all gonna try and have,
Yeah. Well, as soon as possible, but.
right,
Yeah, that
try and have some
yeah.
more info by the 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume that would kind of help steer us, more thoughts on what we need to get going. No other agenda items? Do we have a motion to adjourn? We have a-
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Jacobs. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second by Ryan Bifford. All those in favor of adjourning this meeting, raise your right hand.
I will vote for it.
All right, all those opposed, no. It is unanimous, 5-0. The meeting is adjourned at
6:51.
6:51.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Wally.
Thank you, sir.